Time to get underway with our first pre-final of the weekend, and it's DD2. Here's your starting grid. On pole position, it will be Belgium's Tom Braken, and he'll be joined by SP Motorsport teammate Enzo Bol on the front row. Maxime Dirks and Ville Villainen will be on row number 2. Row 3, it's Patrick Snels-Lokmelis, alongside will be Jules Cousin from France. Emils Akmens and Carl Gustav Borgaard on row number 4, with Teresa Babičková and Martin Zianovskis on row number 5, completing the top 10. Kylian Guérin, Nicolas Guillaume, Enzo Boulogne, Lucas Pernod, Ilias Kaliakmanis, Jordi Killebo, Victor Frostbay, Jordi Westerlaken, Mats Johan Overhoff, Marcelo Wegner-Perraud round out the top 20. Completing the 24-strong grid is Imke Arts, Kane Cherian, Kian de Brandt and Nicky Pedersen. So a very close qualifying this morning, as the drivers now will be making their way around this 1,360-metre circuit. The red lights have been ignited on the starting gantry ahead of 13 minutes plus an additional lap. So it's Braken and Bol on the front row. They will control the rolling start. They split into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out this first time, and a good start by the front row. Maxime Dirks looks to already get past Enzo Bol, who has to use the runoff area. He's allowed to do that. Patrick Snels-Lokmelis, I spotted, might have just gone up into third position, as it's 2 by 2. Hurrah, a little bit further down in the midfield as they make their way into turn number 6 for the opening time. That's Johan Overhoff managing to make an overtake or two, going through into turn number 6 onto the Europlan as they make their way through. It's a bit like a snake strain, but there has been an incident at the back end of the field, so two karts bumping into each other. We've seen 2 wide going through turn 7. I've seen 3 wide, and it hasn't ended up well. But drivers trying to make their way through into turn number 10, but Braken leads the way. Second position, it's Maxime Dirks from Belgium. Patrick Snels-Lokmelis rounds out the top 3. Fourth, it's Emils Akmens from Latvia. Enzo Bol has dropped down, as there is a send from Akmens up the inside of Lokmelis to take P3 through turn number 2. So Kian de Brandt has ended up at the back end of the field as a result of that incident. Might not be taking any further part. I can't see whether he's managed to, well, has gone through sectors 1 and 2. Kaliakmanis has made some inroads as well, up to 12th position, and is ahead of the likes of Martin Zianovskis, Lucas Pernod from Canada, who's on the cusp of possibly winning the BNL kickoff earlier on this year. Funnily enough, a month ago. But Braken leads the way. Dirks is about 3 and a bit tenths of a second behind. Akmens in third. Lokmelis, Bol, Villainen, Borgaard, Cousin, Guérin and Guillaume round out the top 10. Looks like Teresa Babičková has also had dramas. Not sure if she's going to be taking any further part in this race, but Kian de Brandt is out of the race. Looks to have parked the karts. So might have had a bit too much damage on that vehicle for it to allow Kian de Brandt to continue onward. But at the front of the field, Tom Braken is controlling proceedings at the moment. Maxime Dirks is not trying to push too hard too quickly, because sometimes you can overheat the tyres. But at this particular level of Rotax karting, good send up the inside. Now that was on Adam's racing kart. And that was the 401. Kylian Guérin up the inside of Jules Cousin through into turn 12. Maybe a change there between the two of the RS competition karts. As the field's still making their way through. Looks like Teresa Babičková will not be taking any further part in the pre-final. So both Babičková and De Brandt will be starting at the back end of the grid for the pre-final a little bit later on. Still very closely contested between second to fifth position, because Tom Bracken is still leading the way. Maxime Dirix is holding off the advances of Patrick Snolls-Lockmelis, who has got back past, while Emil Zachmans has dropped down to fifth place behind Enzo Boll in the meantime. And then Boll has got through on Lockmelis through turn 12. Good work by the young Dutchman, who unfortunately did not, well, won on the road for the junior Rotax class for the Golden Trophy last year, but a front fairing penalty bumped him off the podium. So the top 10 last time around, covered by 3.4 seconds. Still anything's possible. It is a little bit more strategic when you get into the longer races here at the BNL Karting Series. So we still have 22 out of 24 drivers still competing. Bracken has started extending his lead. He's just put in the fastest lap of the race. No, that was... Well, he took it from Lucas Bernot, who is now in 12th position. About 2.5 tenths of a second behind Enzo Boulogne from France. That's the battle for 11th position. And about half a second in front of them is Nicolas Guillaume from Belgium, running the Sheepers Racing Service team. Use the Kart Republic chassis. But Bracken has extended a comfortable lead. It's nearly 1.1 seconds. Lucas Bernot has taken back the fastest lap of the race, 54.269. But there is a change afoot a little bit further back. Enzo Boll now back up into second. The fight for third has really kicked off because Maxime Dirix has started fighting back against the likes of Emil Zachmans. Patrick Snolls-Lockmelis now back up into P3. Then we've got the likes of Carl Gustav Borgard and Ville Villainen really sticking their elbows out. Ackmans is going to get jumped. Oh, and that was a bit of a late send there by Kylian Guérin from France, who managed to get through. Well, that, you know what, that is, there's always one that chances it and hopes it pays off. If you are 110% committed, it does happen. There is the 451 of Jules Cousin and Nicolas Guillaume battling away. And this is going to allow Chaos Sports Canadian hotshot Lucas Bernot to close in on them. And he is actually with them right now, going through turn number 8. So good work by the Canadian. Kane Cherrin has got past Marcelo Wegner-Barraud. And Lucas Bernot is probably on the fringes, might even now be in the top 10 once we cross the start-finish line. He's right with Jules Cousin, so I think he is 10th. Bracken still leads, Boll in second. The gap between them at the moment is 1.4 seconds. Lockmelis, Dirix, Borgard, Guérin, Villainen, Ackmans, Cousin, and Bernot. Well, no, not Cousin and Guillaume. Well, Bernot is past Enzo Boulogne, and now he's going to start chasing after Guillaume, who is in that 10th position. Just over the halfway point, so just over 6 minutes plus an additional lap to go. Tom Bracken is just putting in a consistent, comfortable, cool as a cucumber style drive right now. But Bernot is looking to close on in and get himself a little bit further up the top 10. Now, Lucas did get a front fairing penalty post-qualifying, which dropped him down the order by 3 positions. Should have started in 11th. But a front fairing penalty instantly gives you a 3-place grid penalty after qualifying. Nicky Pedersen still running. He's just coming through turn 10. As the leader's now, well, the leader now making his way through the turn 7 chicane. There is the 402 of Teresa Babichkova's kart, and there she is sitting in the marshal post as well. Unfortunately, having to watch by the sidelines. Overtake, however, has just occurred between Ilias Kaliakmanis, who just got through on Jordi Westerlaken. Jordi Westerlaken through into turn number 7 off of the Europalan. .8 seconds is now the race lead for Tom Braken ahead of teammate Enzo Bol. Loch Melis is not that far behind the Dutchman, just under half a second. Braken has set the fastest lap of the race. That was on lap number 8 of a 54.137. But still, the strategies could play out in very, very different permutations over the next 4 minutes. So 9 minutes completed, 4 to go plus an additional lap. Bol has started closing that gap down. Both he and Loch Melis have started setting personal bests. Braken's last lap was a 54.577. Bol 54.320. Loch Melis 54.330. So at the moment, the way things stand, depending on how quickly Enzo Bol decides to catch up to Tom Braken, depends on how much that gap is going to be truncated over the next 3 minutes, 10 seconds, plus an additional lap. Lucas Pernod, in the meantime, just trying to keep an eye out for the Canadian. He's not that far behind. The two in front, Cousin and Guillaume, who will start to battle again as they come out of the final corner. There's a little bit further up the road, the 401 of Kilian Gerhard, battling away with Vili Viliainen, and Emils Akmans, the Latvian, now sitting in 8th position. We're all going to be just very, very careful over the next 2.5 minutes. They don't want to put a foot wrong. They also don't want to cost themselves points. New point scheme, it's 55 points for a win, 52 for second. We have changed things around for 2023 following from feedback from the paddocks, the drivers and the teams. So 2 minutes and 15 seconds still to go. Braken still leading comfortably. Bol will probably just hold station in second, because at this moment, if he keeps on pushing forward, well, you don't want to take the life out of the Mojo tyres too early. As there is this end. Oh, that was a good one there by Nicolas Guillaume on Jules Cousin, but that's allowed the opportunity to come towards the Canadian in the 450 for KR Sport, Lucas Pernod. Just behind them, they've got the 422 of Martins Janovskis from Latvia. Into turn 7, through the chicane, now through turn number 8. Only a little bit sideways there for Jules Cousin as he rotated the kart through the corner. So to get into the top 10, Pernod is going to have to do something in the next minute and 20, maybe even less than that if he can get the run coming out of the final corner, and if he's with Cousin, he will get the slipstream. Braken crosses the lines to start lap number 14. And Guillaume is slightly pulled away from Cousin, a little bit further up ahead. The likes of Borgard, Gerhard, Viliainen and Akmans still battling away for position, but this scrap here is even closer between this quartet. And a little bit of a cheeky move there by Martins Janovskis on Lucas Pernod. So 35 seconds on the timer remains, plus an additional lap. Nicky Pedersen still putting in the laps. It's also, it might not be the race goes your way, but if you're still running, You still have an opportunity to get track time and run your own race, still pick up points on the board. A little bit further up the order. Well, that was a move from Vili-Viljanainen on that was Kilian Gerhardt. And the favours returned, and side pod to side pod, and Ackmans decides, right, I'm going to have a bit of this, and slots himself between the pair, who were just squabbling going through into turn number 2. Ackmans, if he's not careful, might lose out in terms of that position to Vili-Viljanainen. Through into turn 7. 4:01 from France closes the door quite sternly. Timer has expired. And the last lap board will be out this time. Tom Bracken still leads the way. His lead was just over 1.4 seconds as we go on to the 16th and final lap. 1.3 between him and Enzo Bol. Lokmelis and Dirks and Borgard round out the top 5 positions. But Bracken, the minute he got pole position a little bit earlier on, it was his window of opportunity to start pulling away from the opposition. That's exactly what he's done in this race. And the youngster, based locally to the circuit here at Genk, one of the youngest drivers, along with Enzo Bol in this field. He will start his weekend and also, what's more, his campaign off in style as Bracken comes out of the final corner, wins the pre-final on Saturday for DD2. Enzo Bol does the double for Stampex in a 1-2 finish. Ahead of Patrick Snows Lokmelis. Maxim Dirks takes 4th. Carl Gustav Borgard in 5th, ahead of Kilian Gerhardt. Emil Zachmans, Vili-Viljanainen, Nicolas Guillaume and Martin Zinovskis round out the top 10. Jules Cousin, Lucas Pernod, Victor Frostbay, Enzo Boulogne, Jori Klebo rounds out the top 15. Mats Johan Overhoff takes 16th, ahead of Jori Westerlaken. Imke Arts, Ilias Kaliakmanis, Marcelo Wigner-Pahord rounding out the top 20. Kane Cherian is 21st and has crossed the line, and we're just waiting for Nicky Peterson from Denmark to take the checkered flag, who does so just now, I believe, and finishes in 22nd. Unfortunately, on lap 2, we lost Teresa Babichkova and Kian de Brandt from Belgium out on the opening lap.